Hello and welcome to the podcast. This is Mike, also known as Mike's Vlog TV on YouTube. I have today a special guest. His name is Zeavo. Zeavo or Zeavo 87?
Zeavo.
Okay. Okay. Lot of name changes.
Yeah, it's true.
So can't hate me. But Zeavo has been one of my loyal subscribers. He's been with me since he's probably been one of the first subscribers that I've ever gotten on YouTube, and has stuck with me through my huge gaps, and even giving me plenty of great advice too. Also, before this is going to be Zeavo's the first guest, obviously, and he's going to be talking here shortly on some topics and everything. So we're going to kind of interview Zeavo today. I did want to let you guys know that I am on iTunes, and I will put a link down below to the iTunes for the podcast so that you can download it, or if you have iPhone or iPad, you can download the podcast app on the App Market, and you can subscribe to the podcast, and it'll notify you right there. But enough about that. We'll go right into talking to Mr. Zeavo. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Fantastic. You're always so upbeat. So upbeat.
That's my MO.
I should probably start watching you when I'm tired. Just turn one of your videos on.
Yes, you can save money because that way you will not have to buy any 5-hour energy. I'll substitute for that.
Perfect. And coffee is getting expensive too.
Yeah.
So it's free on YouTube to watch a Zeavo video.
For now.
For now, true. Are you gonna start charging us?
Next year, it's on the table. It's not definite, but it's on the table.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as it's not definite, but I guess I would have to pay to continue to watch you. One of the things that I wanted to talk about with you here on the lovely podcast, it's kind of weird that they're not my Subaroonies anymore.
Why not?
Well, I guess they could be my Subaroonies, but I don't know. I feel like the Subaroonies things is like a straight video vlog.
I feel that.
So I think these are just my podcasters. These are my loyal listeners. YouTube, you obviously make videos on YouTube. And I've been watching you for, has it been 2 or 3 years? 3 years?
Yeah, about 3 years, I think.
Yeah, about 3 years. And I was actually talking to Zeavo earlier about how his videos have gotten to such a high scale, from starting off on a webcam.
Yeah, it was just a crappy little webcam that plugged into a USB port on my terrible laptop, and it had such a short cord that I could only ever film a video in that one-room studio apartment that I had, so I come from very humble beginnings.
Yeah, Zeavo is definitely proof that, it doesn't matter what quality of equipment you have, and you don't need to start off by spending a lot of money. Just use what you have, and even though Zeavo, you use a webcam, there was a couple of videos that blew my mind because you actually had different angles and multiple different shots using the webcam. That must have been frustrating.
Yeah, that's all doable as long as you plan things out ahead of time. Like, I would write a script and I would say, okay, this character needs this angle, so I'll film all of his parts at once, and I would color code the scripts I had, like orange, orange, orange for that one character. So I would do all the orange ones in a row. Hopefully I wouldn't forget any. Occasionally it became, I would screw something up and I'd have to go back to that angle, but I don't know, usually I feel like everything on YouTube that I do, some of it might look difficult, but it really isn't. It just takes the proper amount of time and planning, but it rarely gets frustrating or, mistake-inducing.
I think that's my problem. I think I'm more of an impatient person. Where I really would love to plan out these things, but I get this idea in my head, and for some odd reason, you've seen a lot of my videos.
Yeah.
When it comes to writing something down on paper, I'm like, no, absolutely not. I refuse, because that would take too much time, and then I gotta shoot this real quick as fast as I possibly can, and I need to upload it and just sit there and stare at the little ticker and wait for the views to keep going up. And but
do you suffer from that view watching syndrome where you just kind of sit on your chair and keep hitting refresh and try to see if the view count goes up?
Yes, actually, I've caught myself a couple of times where I noticed that I was developing a bad habit, or not a bad habit, but more of an addiction, to where if I accidentally clicked on the video, I'm like, dang it, that's a view. So I would actually like keep like a little notepad to show how many times I've watched the video, so I can get an accurate count and everything like that. But so your videos went from a webcam to, obviously you use a camera now, and you do green screening now. A lot of your editing is, it's great angles. It seems like you have a pretty good knack of an eye. I guess that was not so much English, but you have a really good eye for angles when it comes to your videos and multiple characters. You shoot all of your videos by yourself, or do you have a helper?
Almost all the time it's just me. I have a tripod, I set that up, and I go to town. I mean, you watch my videos, hopefully it doesn't show a lot the fact that almost all the time the camera's just kind of mounted in one place, but, if I'm doing some kind of thing, I try to compensate that with, as you said, different angles and stuff, so the fact that the camera is sitting in one place isn't as obvious. But I love the few times that I've stepped out of that limitation and asked my brother to help me out with stuff and getting to move the camera. There's so many fun things you can do with being able to move the camera that I almost forget that. But yeah, I mean, if what I've done shows anything, it's that stuff can look pretty decently well, like you said, without spending a ton of money, because like I have a camera, it's about $400, which is a bit expensive, but the editing software, I use Adobe Premiere Elements, and like Elements means it's kind of like the simple, cheaper version, but like each version of the software really has a ton of stuff you can do, but I've never had an idea that has been held back by the limitations of the software. So like anything you've ever seen in my video, it might look good, but it's really not all that complicated. And I try to keep it that way. I try to, as they say, keep everything within my means. I don't try to get too ambitious, because to me, an A- video, is much better than killing myself to get an A+, and, striving for super perfection and then getting too annoyed by the whole process and I just settle for the A- and then I put it out there.
Yeah, but I believe that little quirks just means that you're real. I mean, you're not a professional editor. You don't work in the film industry for a living, correct?
Correct.
So I think this shows little tiny flaws that I would have to say most people would never ever notice, unless that they were big into editing themselves. People that edit videos can notice mistakes, but I would say that the majority of the population wouldn't be able to tell. And I think those little quirks make your videos that much better, honestly. It's real.
Right, like you said, like sometimes you leave in a quirk and then someone notices it and it's kind of funny. Like sometimes if I make some kind of mistake or continuity error, instead of going to reshoot it, I'll just leave it in, because what I want to happen, I think some people are afraid of this, but what I want to happen is to have people comment on it and like call it out and say, hey, I noticed this little thing at this point, you screwed up, you stink. I like when that happens because, number one, it means that there are people watching my videos actively, and number two, I just like to trick people into leaving a comment because that kind of like, boosts the statistics on the video per se.
Trickery in every Zeavo video.
Yeah.
I see how it is. So now you're forcing you subconsciously are making me comment on your videos.
Yeah.
That's
and it works sometimes.
It's genius. It's genius. So anybody that knows you on the interwebs knows that you have an amazing passion for Sonic.
Oh yeah.
So you can't. I don't even think you could start talking about Sonic without getting so excited about him. When did you develop this passion for Sonic?
Well, it was in the ripe year of 1992, where I went over to my friend's house, and I'd never heard of Sonic before, and he had Sonic 1 for the Sega Genesis, and the instant I saw it was love at first sight. Eventually, I had to kind of argue with my mom, because I think after a while she figured out that I was only going to his house solely to be able to play Sonic, and she didn't want me to use him for that. Why do I like Sonic so much? I'm not exact. I mean, I like Mario too. Don't get me wrong. Right now, I'm in the midst of playing Super Mario Galaxy 2, and that's one of the best games I've ever played. But I think I just like Sonic because it's fast, and you have to act on your toes, and you don't have to stop and wait for some obstacle to pass by. On the contrary, you just kind of blaze through the environment, and I love the kind of dominance over nature that you get to exert playing as the character in that game. And I also just love his attitude, and the music in that game is just so amazing. Like, when I was teaching in South Korea, I had access to a computer in the classroom, and when I would have students work on a worksheet, on their own for like 10 to 15 minutes, I would just put on music from Sonic sometimes. Whether it was from the actual game itself or just remixes that are available on internet. I live it. I breathe it.
Now that right there is dedication. I remember I played Sonic on the Sega Genesis, and I never really got far because I used to like making him into that little ball and just let him spin.
Spin dash, yeah.
And just spin. See, you even know what it's called.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So, okay. So out of all the times that I've seen your videos and talking about games, I would have to say that you love, the older games, I guess, except for the fact that you just said you're playing Mario Galaxy 2, which, by the way, I can't play that game. I have it for the Wii. I don't understand how to play it.
Fair enough. My cousin, he's like 12 years old. He, for whatever reason, came to the same conclusion about that game. I don't know why. I love it so much. I don't think I'm in the minority in general on that one, but I just think that the GameCube era, Nintendo kind of forgot how to make games, and they kind of had a lot of well-intentioned misfires, and, it's good to experiment and take risks, but I'm telling you, man, the Wii is just fantastic. I just feel like Nintendo remembered how to make an amazing game. There's so many good games on the Wii, and I guess I just kind of had to take a break from gaming. I couldn't play video games at all during the entire time I was in South Korea. Then I came back, and a Wii only costed $149, and I was like, there's a bunch of great games out already. Let's do this.
So I guess your time away was definitely well worth it for you. Do you see yourself getting the Wii U, or are you going to wait?
Absolutely not. The only way I would get a Wii U is if a great Zelda game came out, which, to be honest, really was the ultimate trigger in my buying a Wii. Once Skyward Sword Zelda came out, I was like, okay, it's time to buy a Wii. But Wii U, I guess I've just never been a complete sheep descendant of the whole touchscreen phenomenon that was successful on the Nintendo DS, so they decided to do it on the home console. I don't know. That just kind of seems gimmicky to me, but hey, it could turn out great.
Okay, so would you agree that everybody has played a Zelda game at one point in their life?
Absolutely not. But if you ask me if everyone has played a Mario game in their life, I would say absolutely yes.
Okay. Because, I remember getting a Nintendo. I remember this because I was begging for it for my birthday. I was living... I was really young. And I remember being in Toys R Us, stomping my feet, and I got that Nintendo, and I played Mario on the Nintendo. I played a bunch of games, but Zelda, I've never played a Zelda game in my life.
Yeah, I never played any of the old ones. The first one I played was for the Nintendo 64. I tried to play the older Zelda games. I respect them for what they is, but I personally can't get into them.
So, speaking of Nintendo 64s, I don't know if I put the Wii in the same category as an Xbox 360 or a PlayStation. But do you see yourself, or you might actually own one, and I don't know this. Do you see yourself ever purchasing an Xbox or a PlayStation and playing any of those games, or are you strictly like the Wii and down?
I mean, I've basically post Sega Genesis been only a Nintendo type of guy, but as it happens in my house, because I am not the only person who lives in this house, my house, so to speak, also has an Xbox 360 and a PS3. I've played a couple games on each of those because the Wii has a problem where not all good games come out on Wii, and they'll only come out on those other two systems. So like Half-Life 2, I was able to play, and I mean Sonic Generations, which was an unbelievable game that came out in 2011, it wasn't on Wii, so I was glad that we had an Xbox in the house. So, yeah, I mean, there are franchises on those two systems that I like, but I just feel like Nintendo made a perfect decision to sacrifice, perfect HD crisp graphics and instead focus on just games that are fun as hell to play.
Fair enough. Me, when it comes to games, I love playing games, but I'm more of like a PC gamer. Like I really enjoy the mouse and the keyboard and using the it's been a while. The WAD X to walk and use your mouse and everything like that.
Right.
Holding controllers, it bothers me a lot. And I bought an Xbox 360. I played Black Ops and Modern Warfare 3 because those games are games that I really do enjoy. But then I always do the same exact thing where I have it and then I get bored of it and then I don't touch it for like 2 months and then I sell it. And then like 3 months later I'm like, man, I really wish I had it again. And then I buy it again. And it's a vicious cycle when it comes to me. Luckily I always sell it for maybe like a $10 or $15 loss, so it's not that substantial.
Yeah, just think of it as a $10 rent.
Yeah, exactly. So I've just rented it for 10. But now I actually been obsessed with playing the Wii.
Yep.
So I got my nice little Wii here, and I like to play all the new Mario games, and I wanted to try Black Ops on there. Would you ever try Black Ops, or are you?
I guess I'm only into the first-person shooters that I don't know, just kind of have a different spin on the genre. I never play a Call of Duty game. I don't think they're bad games. I'm just not as much into them. I just really love Half-Life. I think Half-Life 1 and 2 are a couple of the best games that have ever come out.
I actually had Half-Life 2 for the computer. I never played it. I bought it. I just never played it because I was obsessed with Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I was too at one point. And going back to what you were saying, like, I think definitely everyone on a jury could agree that first-person shooters are much more intuitive, with a mouse and keyboard. It's like aiming, it's kind of an extension of your body, and when you get used to that, and then you try to play a game like Call of Duty with a console controller, it's just a mess.
Oh, yeah. Unless you're like 10, and then you're just, for some odd reason,
at 10 years old,
the best of the best when it comes to using those. And I don't like... That's the only thing I would have to say that I absolutely hated about playing the Xbox 360 or Call of Duty or any of those on Xbox, was just the fact that, I mean, I've never wanted to, like, I love kids, but I've never wanted to, like, hunt down and beat a kid more than listening to them talking through my headset with their ear-piercing voice screaming that they want to bang my mom. And that happens every day.
Taunting you and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to get an IP sniffer and hunt you down, just like in Jay and Silent Bob. Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Okay. I figured I just threw out this. A lot of actually, I'm surprised that a lot of people don't know who Jay and Silent Bob is. But that's off topic here. Um, what would I kind of already know the. I'll actually I know the answer of this, but what would you say would be the best type of videos that you do on YouTube?
I have a kind of a format, a specific sort of a set of rules that I follow, but at the same time, my biggest fear is for someone to click on one of my videos and expect what to see, and then that becomes what it is. So I try to make things as unpredictable as possible. Like funny, very fast. I try to keep things between 2 and 2.5 minutes. Usually the scripts that I come up with will be like 3 or 4 minutes in length, but I'll just have to end up cutting things out because it's really important to me to establish a brand. I want people to come to one of my videos, expecting, they don't know what the topic is going to be or where it's going to go, but they expect a certain experience. And I like to build the trust with the viewer, by only making videos that are 2 minutes long so that it doesn't take a huge commitment of their time. And if something completely bombs, it's 2 minutes, all right, it's gone. But especially now in the wild, wild anti-West of Google Plusified YouTube that we have with all the format changes, now we have the unsubscription bug where people are getting unsubscribed to me without even having done it. And then they'll come back to my channel a month later and say, oh, YouTube unsubscribed me, that stupid bug, this is so ridiculous. Or like, I'll post a video, and it's not just me this happens to, but people will post a video, and people that are subscribed to me won't even see it pop up in their sub box, So to me, I can't control stupid decisions that Google makes for the YouTube algorithms and such. So the only thing I can do is establish my brand and hope that people will know that I'll post a video every week or so. So even if it doesn't show up in their sub box, they'll be like, hey, it's been a while since Zeavo was posted a video. Hopefully they would stop by my channel itself and see if anything is there. So I try to keep things within that specific 2-minute, very fast, very, unpredictable, different topic every week. So that's my MO with that.
Well, you're definitely doing a great job, with that, and you definitely have a knack, you have a talent for entertaining, especially in video format, with just the way you move with the camera, you free flow. You don't free flow. You do scripts, but I would never know that you were scripted. It just looks very natural. You're very relaxed, and you have a lot of talent when it comes to the editing. And I've noticed that you're doing more collaboration videos.
Yep, certainly love doing the collaborations, and that's one of the unique things about YouTube is having the viewership. Like, one thing I love to do in general is making a video that involves one of my subscribers, but I won't tell them about it. So they'll click on one of my videos having no idea what it's about, and as they watch it, they discover that they are part of the topic of that video. And as you know, as we've done in the past, part of my YouTube character that I come in and out of at intervals is like I'll kind of pretend to be angry at someone, sort of like Stephen Colbert rant style. Obviously I'm not actually angry at that person, but someone who's pissed off is much, much funnier and more interesting than someone who's sitting on their living room couch perfectly content with everything. So I'll just pretend to be, angry at someone for some stupid reason and kind of like build a storyline that way. But I also like taking risks, meaning in the sense that sometimes I'll present myself in a video and I'll be upset about something that someone has done, but that will actually be what I think. And it's not necessarily part of the character. But whenever I do that, I try to be as honest and fair as possible. I'm not just going to troll someone and say, they stink, and then not explain myself. if I'm ever doing something that's, negative, I'll do it with a good reason. Someone who, for whatever reason, deserves that sort of comment. But I'm always fair, and when I make a video like that, I'll render it, and then the day that I'm gonna upload it will get closer and closer, and I'll get nervous. I'm like, how are people gonna react to this? Is everyone gonna thumb down and unsubscribe, or are they gonna, react positively to it? So for me, taking risks like that in the spirit of truth and what I actually do feel, to me, is much more interesting to make than, I just, YouTube is great, but one thing I've noticed about it over the time that I've been on it is that way too many people just succumb to this cult of everyone just high-fiving each other all the time, and it's just a little dishonest to me, so I kind of like to step out of that boundary.
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of truth behind that, because how many times have I seen a video of somebody that I'm subscribed to, and I watch something and I don't agree with what they say, or I just didn't like the video, and instead of giving my honest opinion or my feedback in the comments, I don't comment. Now, just because I don't comment a video doesn't mean that I hate that video. That's not what I'm saying. But if there was something that was a really, really, really funny thing, we tend to comment about the funny thing and leave out the fact that you could use some constructive criticism on constructive criticism. I can't speak at all. You put a microphone in front of me, I lose the ability to pronounce words. But so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of truth behind that. But this video right here, this podcast, I almost said video. I'm video chatting with Zeavo, so that's why I messed that up. But this one right now we're at 27 minutes, so we're gonna cut this one short.
All right.
Zeavo is definitely, I would have to say, one of my. Actually, I would have to say Zeavo would be one of my first internet friends. Somebody that I have never met outside of the internet realm. And I hope that Zeavo will come back on the podcast very soon. And we can have more conversations with Zeavo and get more in depth in the crazy, wacky world that he lives in. Because Zeavo has the most amazing characters that he creates. And like he said, his videos are 2.5 minutes, and I could actually watch longer. You hear that, Zeavo? Longer videos in length, because they're entertaining. They're very entertaining videos. So I will put a link on YouTube down below, and on iTunes I will have Zeavo's YouTube link there also. So if you're listening to this on iTunes, you'll be able to click on his link and go and subscribe. I believe I can do that. I know I can type things. So if you can't click on it, it'll be in the bio. Fair enough?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. So I'm going to let Zeavo end the podcast.
Alright, man, it's been a pleasure, man. I remember back in the day, I don't remember, like you were saying, we go back, one of my earliest interwebs friends, I remember I found your video, and at that you were talking in front of a green screen, and you looked behind you to kind of check your subscriber count, and it showed that back in the early days before the big YouTube redesign, when you went to someone's channel page, you could see like little icons, thumbnails of the people that were your subscribers, and you were like, how many subscribers do you have? And then you looked back at the green screen, and there were just 2, and I was watching this, and I was like, yes, I get to be subscriber number 3. He's going to be so happy about this. And here we are in 2013, plowing ahead into the future. Ooh, wait!